Good evening. This is Taru from Living Light, and thank you for joining us for the Friday Study Circle. And I don't think it needs much introduction, but here we basically reflect and question or discuss what we have read, on the works of various masters and mystics. So thank you and welcome. And usually Chitra ji starts with her sharing and we take it from there. So if she feels fine doing that, I request her to share with us what she read this time and we'll take it up from there. Thank you.
Yeah, what about Captain? He wants to, this time, if he wants, he
Yeah,
can.
Captain, should we break the patterns and would you want to read this time?
Uh, okay.
Yeah.
I read something, so probably we'll start with that. I
Yes.
was reading one book that is stories by mother. So in that, the mother discovers the Gita, that is Bhagavad Gita. So this was the topic I thought will share with you. And we normally, read Gita, and there are so many great people and sages. They have their own version of Gita. After it was in Sanskrit, so everybody, including Sri Aurobindo, the Gita was explained and translated or whatever maybe by different people. Even Gandhiji has made one. So likewise, and I just read out this. Mother discovers the Gita. I said that between the age of 18 and 20, I had attained a conscious and constant union with the divine presence, and that I had done it all alone, with absolutely nobody to help me, not even books. You understand? When I found one, there came to my hands a little later Vivekananda's Raja Yoga. It seemed to me so wonderful a thing, you see, that someone could explain something to me. This made me gain in a few months what would have perhaps taken me years to do. I met a man. I I was perhaps 21 then, I think, either 20 or 21. I met a man who was an Indian who came from here, and he spoke to me about the Gita. There was a translation, which, by the way, was quite bad, and he advised me to read it and gave me the key. His key, it was his key. He told me, read the Gita, this translation of the Gita, which is not up to much, but still, that is the only one in French. Because mother was probably she knew French well than any language. At the time, I would not have been able to understand anything in any other language. Besides, the English translations were as bad, and I did not have. Sri Aurobindo had not yet written his. He said, read the Gita and take Krishna as the symbol of immanent God, the inner Godhead. This was all that he told me. He said to me, read it with that, the knowledge that Krishna represents the immanent God in the Gita, the God who is within you. Well, in 1 month, the whole work was done. Now, you just see, you have been here since your very childhood. Some of you, everything has been explained to you. The whole work has almost been chewed up for you. You have been not only with words, but with psychic aids, with all kinds of, in all possible ways. You have been put on the path to this inner discovery, and still you let yourselves live like that. It will come when it comes. If you think about it at all, then there then, but this does not at all discourage me. Why? I find it quite amusing. This was on 25th of August 1954.
Yes, thank you, Captain. Captain, I would request,
So
please share what was it in this that resonated with you and the reason you are sharing this. I mean, of course, it was beautiful, but please, if you could speak a few words of your own on this.
uh, yes. So what when I was going through Bhagavad Gita, so the every time I go through, I get a different meaning. It depends upon the frequency of the mind. When I am reading, the frequency of the mind as it absorbs, as it is getting absorbed. So every time I get new meaning. And though I have not read all the Bhagavad Gitas of the versions, but Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Swami Vivekananda, little bit I have read. And when I read that original in Sanskrit, so I understand, depending upon my understanding of Sanskrit. So I understand the meaning, and I get mental peace because that Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 chapters and there are about 700 slokas, and all the aspects of our life has been discussed, and all the problems here. God is giving the answers of the questions which were put by Arjuna. So, like Arjuna, we are, if our life, we are facing problems every day, every moment. So, the solutions of all those are being given by Krishna. So, that is the immanent God, which has been told by Mother. So, there, the sixth chapter, 47 sloka, the God Krishna says, of all the yogis again, he who devoutly worships me with his mind focused on me is considered by me to be the best yogi. So we all are with one, that is God. But that realization, it doesn't come just because by saying that English sentence we don't get into march with the God. But we have to discover what we are. So that discovery, unfortunately, from the beginning of our life, we were not put into that track. So we have diverted and we have gone far away. And once by our previous birth or something, or we have come to know that Bhagavad Gita. I had been reading Bhagavad Gita from my school days. Actually. There's any problem you have got, so sit down and read Gita, you will get your answers. So that was the only medicine which I was using as medicinal value. But it has got much more value. And other than Bhagavad Gita, we need not read any other books or anything of that sort. If you want to realize ourselves that what we are, what for we came in this life has been given by God. So, in this particular paragraph, in the shloka, 47th shloka of 6th chapter, God says that you just concentrate on me, and that's all. Matter finishes. Like we had been talking about, like mother, everything put it on mother, and mother will take care. If you have real faith and confidence and believe, and that's all. There's nothing else. Nothing else can be achieved. And uh, she will be there with us actually every time, holding the hand. Like when the Ramakrishna says that when father is holding the hand of the child will never fall. But like monkeys, children, they are holding their mother. So there is a chance when they're jumping, there may be a chance that sometimes they may fall. But in our case, that if we hold, if mother is holding our hand, I don't think that we will have a fall in our life. And that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Captain. That was really beautiful. So basically, how you summarized it was that if you choose the divine, right? If you are with the divine, then everything else falls into place. And I remember hearing this that there's a mystic called Acharya Prashant, and once somebody was questioning him about Christianity. That how the Christ had said that I am the only Son of God, right? I am the Son of God. You just come to me, and you will kind of rise with me, or whatever you will achieve, the whatever you want to achieve. And the Christianity, not like the Christianity seems to be stuck on it, right? That he said he's the Son of God. He said he's the Son of God. So there, Acharya Prashant had said that every avatar, when he was here on earth, they said, look at me. Like, I am the only one for you. That right now, if a Krishna is standing in front of you and you're talking about, say, Ram or a Christ, that would not help you. So I think that was something very beautiful again when you were sharing, that came to me, that whoever is there, he would say, I'm the only one. And if you just, and again, in the Sanatan Dharma and all, it's always about just, kind of giving yourself and being with that one. So yeah, thank you. Anybody else, please, if you have anything on what Captain said, or you want to now share your own
Yeah.
sharing. Yes, Chitra.
Actually, this Gita copy, no, Bhagavad Gita copy, mother got from that person. That person actually, he is there was one disciple called Dilip Kumar Rai, actually. Yeah, that Dilip Kumar Rai's at one time guru, actually that guru is called Krishna Prem. That guru's husband, he is. Somehow it all ended up like that, actually. Dilip Kumar Rai was in the ashram for some time. Actually, he was a very ardent follower of Sri Aurobindo, but after some time he could not, for some other reason he could not, so he went. But that time, Dilip Kumar Rai, he used to invite people to meet Sri Aurobindo. That time it was discovered, one who gave the copy to Mother Bhagavad Gita, that person was actually known to his guru. Yeah, that Dilip Kumar Rai's once guru, Krishna Prem, he is a foreigner. He is, I think, Ronald Nixon. His name is Ronald Nixon. So this story I read, I wondered about the, mystical happening. Yeah. How everybody is connected like that. Yes. And also Mother pointed out, no, now you are having all the books, all the guidance, but you can't, go in the pace, actually. But what Mother is wanted us to do, actually, she said, only for within a time I could realize it is the eminent God. Everything, even the Gita's yoga is completely done in her, actually. Yeah. Because Bhagavad Gita's yoga is the base for this integral yoga. Even before you enter into this yoga, you have to practice. It is there. It is the base, it is the foundation. My personal experience is actually what happened at one stage. I became very dry suddenly. Actually, I couldn't, I doubted myself whether I am surrendering to Mother, whether my thing is real. Those doubts came suddenly. That time I heard a talk, but I never left. I never put an end to watching the talks and all. I used to watch, even though I became dry and all. I watched a talk from Dr. Nadkarni, who was, before Alok Pandey, he used to give talks about Savitri, actually. He said in his talk, correct time it came to me, actually. He said, sometimes we won't move in this integral yoga path. That will be completely stopped because of so many situations. Definitely, you again go through Bhagavad Gita fully, and then you realize what to do in your life, whether to go in the path or what is your goal. Everything will be cleared if you go through the Gita. So the same time in our apartment, one young lady started teaching Bhagavad Gita actually, verse by verse. First, I went through it actually without seeing the meaning. Then I took up that essays on Gita by Sri Aurobindo. I could read. Even now I'm reading. So Gita came to me like this actually. It's a beautiful experience for me. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks to our challenges. If not for them, we would never dig deeper into, Gita or Upanishads or really thanks to them, because whenever I, hear these experiences and my own experiences, it appears that it's like, a little child. Uh, he's playing very fine, mother is around, but he's playing very fine. He doesn't need the mother. But the moment he has maybe hand goes into fire or something happens, he clutches to the mother. So I feel that for me, every time it has happened in leaps, that maybe I slip from the path again, then something happens which makes me suffer, and then I cling to the mother more tightly, more tightly, more tightly. So I feel that it's beautiful, the play of duality, falling into our falls as we do, and then using that as a stepping stone to cling more tightly, as Badalji was sharing, to the mother, to the divine, which is represented in Gita also, that focus your mind totally on me, give your thoughts to me, feelings to me, emotion turn towards me. And I think we, especially, I see that many a times our mind goes here and there. We suffer, and then we realize, oh my God, my mind was not on the divine. It actually got somewhere else. And that is why I got into trouble. So let us go back to the track again. So yeah. Great.
I think on almost on the same lines, like in this, it's in the Sunlit Path as well, and in this month's All India magazine, May 2021, the beginning. I'll just share it. I think I would have it pulled up. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
So, this thing, I had read it a long time back, and again, I was reminded of this rely on the divine alone. So, I just wanted to take 2 minutes to, just reflect on that, because somehow it's very hard to implement. So, if I thought if we do it together, it might make more sense. I'll start reading it. So, it says, rely on the divine alone. There is one thing you must learn: never to rely on anyone or anything, whatever, except the divine. For if you lean upon anyone for support, that support will break. You may be sure of that. Never seek a support elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek satisfaction elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek the satisfaction of your needs in anyone else except the divine. Never. For anything at all your needs can only be satisfied by the divine. All your weaknesses can be borne and healed only by the divine. He alone is capable of giving you what you need in everything, always. And if you try to find any satisfaction or support or help or joy or heaven knows what in anyone else, you will always fall on your nose one day, and that always hurts, and sometimes even hurts very much. So I just, wanted to reflect on this together, because somehow if I think about myself, where I am right now, I mean, this seems really far, as in for everything, like for this, I know I'll go to them. For this, I know I'll go to them. For this thought to reflect on, I'll go to this person. And yet, of course, I do have the connection with mother as well, but I don't use it as often as I can. Like I try to first, it's like I'll try to settle in the lower courts And if that won't work, I'll go to the supreme, high and the supreme. Like, I don't know what the logic behind it is, because time after time it has been made clear that, if you just tell her in a prayers and meditation course also, she says, talk to me, like I am there, like, or him, so, and the wordings, the tone of this is so, like, there's no if and but about it, right? And yet I keep going, I keep realizing that I'll not get it here, I'll not get it here, right? Like, so please, if you could unmute and just share what this means to you, or how have you incorporated this more in your everyday life to help more of us. Thank you.
So I think personally, I would say this has, I've pasted this on my wall for a long time. And whenever I fall on my nose, I look at it. I almost kind of look at it laughing at me, I can say. And I see that there are many, many times where the influence of the forces, if I can use that word, the emotional overwhelm, the mental overwhelm, it is so, so strong that I need human support. Now, in times like these, there have been times where I have struggled alone and I have not sought any help but the divine, and okay, gone through the period. And there have been times where divine has come in a human form to me. I think we don't have to exclude that if I am relying solely on the divine, that I would exclude human touch and connection. For example, this period I have been going through a time in recent times, and I have been actually pleading to the mother, please, you send me help, you send me help, because I cannot do this alone. And I see that I was supported. It help came in the form of a friend, maybe a phone call, somebody else came to support, and I did not go and reach out. I was just pleading to the mother, help, I need help. Actually, what I did was I placed a note, mother, I need help, and I placed it in her feet, and in 1 2 3 days everything started to kind of connect together. I find more peace in myself, and something or the other kept happening, where I found, okay, now I'm feeling okay, I'm now feeling myself. So, and especially coming from me, because I have a lot of restless vital energy, and I see that people like me who have this restless out, kind that wants to go out, people like me, it's very hard if I can just be with myself solely, fighting it all alone, and all the energy turned inwards. So although it may be journey for me, maybe I have to kind of tame this energy slowly, and contain all the life force. Maybe it will come in time. But at times I see that the divine help comes in form of human support if we rely on the divine, that okay, mother will guide and yeah, show us the way.
I really love the way you have expressed it. Let me just rephrase what I was asking. Like, in your case, you went to the mother, you said, Mother, I need help. And the help was sent to you in the form of people, voices, dreams, anything, right? That was through her. But when you went to her and she had sent help in different forms. What I was questioning was that, I say for myself, I would not go to her first most of the times. Like, मेरी तरफ से I feel there's some, I don't know, some sincerity thing, or I don't even want to name it. Like, it's just a journey, but I would not directly go as an. And plus, another thing was that with kids, how, like, I don't know from when this starts, that they stop trusting the universe and they start seeking help from outside, as if the universe is not there at all. Like, I am sure that we, the caretakers, are the ones who make that happen. We tell them that no, 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 for, God obviously is there. Even that Amitabh Bachchan dialogue के मैं हर जगह कर आया हूँ और अब मैं तेरे पास आया हूँ मांगने. There was a movie, उसका dialogue was very popular, You know, like I've gone everywhere and I've come now, but why? And similarly, say that Draupadi incident, right? Like she calls upon so many, and in the end, she calls Krishna and she asks him, you know, why did it take you so long? And he said, because you called me so late. So I was just trying to get to that mentality to kind of pick it and see that what in me doesn't want to go there first. Like, is it a rasa I am seeking? Is it some kind of, you know, drama ki let me, or what is it? Or it's just sheer ignorance ki nahi wahan pe. I don't know. I don't know if I've made myself a bit more clear.
Yeah, I think it's very clear now what you have shared. And I feel that if I relate to that, what you are asking, I see that I need the falls first. Just like Kabir says, you know, daudat daudat bhagya, jahan lagi man ki daud. So first that running after people, you know, and falling in the on the nose and hurting myself. I think that is one experience which comes to us as human beings, and it has its importance because that only convinces me that wahan nahi milega. So that creates a conviction in me कि कहाँ मिलेगा. So I think these personal hurts and falls on and bleeding, you know, I feel that, yeah, I don't know why it is so. Maybe, as you said, you know, maybe because of ignorance, but it is there.
So
Yeah.
the fact that I find myself running again and again means I haven't ran enough, right? So I will find a pause, but maybe it needs more running before I can settle. Okay, yeah, thank you. That puts a light. Yes, Jyotsna ji, I was looking at you smiling and I knew
There
you.
is one tendency in every human being till you overcome it that I have noticed, that we tend to think as human beings as time goes that we know it all. You know, we know it all. हमको ये तो मुझे समझ में आता है. And so because that I feel now at this juncture in the path that this we know it all is our ego playing games with us. I mean, it knocks on us and tells us, "अरे नहीं यार, तेरे को ये सब मालूम है. You've gone there, you've done that. You know how to handle it. Come on, go ahead and handle it." And I feel that is where the vital tricks us. Our own vital is you know, tricking us and telling us you know it all, so you fall a couple of times on your nose, bloody rub the thing, bleed, and you have fun in that. And if from that you wake up, then you wake up and say, हाँ अभी तो साला बहुत मार खाया, अभी सीधे उधर ही जाओ चरणों में तो शायद अक्कल आएगी. But most of us, I would say, or almost all of us, we have all learned by injury only, by pain only, and severe, at most, very severe pain. And though the ego is playing games with us, though the ego is handling us like a puppet, we love it. It gives us a kind of a kick that I know it. You know, I've done this. I'm going to do it again. And I'll show everybody that I know how to do it. And that's what actually I feel takes us on that gallop. But whereas if you just quieten yourself, sit down, and like Monica said, you know, she asked help from the mother. I also always beg mother to help me. But I learned one thing very slowly, that mother comes in various formats. She just comes. It may be a child who tells you something. It may be your maid, the most unexpected, who tells you something, a house help, anybody who you do not expect. But it will come to you if you're willing to be alert enough to listen. Our problem is that we are walking with blinkers on like horses, and we don't look elsewhere but what we want. But if we just a little bit, and you know, you seek out someone or someone seeks you out and talks to you or gives you one sentence, and yeah, she's also speaking mother's language, you know, see, something reiterates that fact and cements it, and it sort of, enhances that gallop. This is my take on it. Because I was listening, and we've all had lots of falls, we still do. But I feel that somewhere, whether we call them hostile forces, coupled with our vital is the biggest shaitan which works with us.
Yeah,
So if
thank
we were to sort of conquer that and tell it, look, you just hang on and stay quiet. Let me listen. Of course, in all the crisis and action, it's rather difficult to quieten the vital and tell yourself to be silent. But if you do, 99% an answer comes provided you listen. Pakka.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and I also, when I read it and I reflected on it, so this is like on the thought on the same lines basically came to me that something in me feels that it can handle it, that I've got things under control. So why do I need to approach her? Like as if in approaching her, I'll become small and as if there is any comparison. So it's just amazing.
Isn't that your ego?
Yeah,
Isn't
exactly
that your vital plane?
what you said, that how clever I am to be cleverly wanting to avoid asking for help, thinking that I will take care of it. So it's just
Beautiful.
unbelievable, and yet that's what I do. Mindset, and
You
then
know,
when it happens, yeah.
Taru, इसमें मुझे लगता है because it's a very fresh experience for me. I feel that the mind wants the things done in a certain way, and there I actually don't want to indulge the divine, because what if the divine wants something else, and when these things really are going out of control, that you cannot tolerate the overwhelm and the other things that is going on, confusion, I have seen that in that domain, the mind becomes absolutely helpless, or the ego, both are coming from each other. The ego becomes absolutely helpless कि भैया अब चाहे मेरे करे हो चाहे तेरे करे हो बस तू अब कर दे, like it's like almost like that. So I think you are absolutely right. I think I resonate with that absolutely, that हमारे अंदर कुछ ऐसा कीड़ा होता है जिसको लगता है मुझे पता है और मैं हैंडल कर लूंगा, है ना, और उसमें हम डिवाइन को डालना नहीं चाहते जानबूझ के, इसलिए नहीं डालना चाहते बिकॉज व्हाट इफ द डिवाइन वांट्स समथिंग एल्स, what if it is not according to what I desire the thing, to be. And when we are really tired of all our efforts, I think, which is a beautiful space to be, although it's very hard, then the true magic happens, as you guys were sharing. Yeah.
I read the same thing today. Now, in 1 hour before the class, it is in offering of one's will by the mother. What is IBID? I don't know. IBID is
Ibid, it is the same. Meaning is the same, I think. IBID, Ibid, no?
yeah.
That is the same. I mean, before what she referred before, same from same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there is a reference like Collected Works of Mother, volume 13. So Ibid matlab it's the same volume. Ibid matlab it's the same volume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
the
Dictionary
date
I found in, yes.
the date is 21st April 1929. This is the last paragraph where it resonates exactly with what you say, Monica. Only you must remember that to surrender is to accept whatever is the result of your action, though the result may be quite different from what you expect. Mother says. On the other hand, if your surrender is passive, which usually most of us want to do for convenience, you will do nothing and try nothing. You will simply go to sleep and wait for a miracle. No, it's somewhere else. Search in book में देखो तो. Now to know whether your will or desire is in agreement with the divine will or not, you must look and see whether you have an answer or no or not. You must look and see whether you feel supported or contradicted, not by the mind or the vital or the body, but by the something which is always there deep in the inner being in your heart. It is always the same thing. This is our screen before which we must pass everything to know whether one may accept it or whether one is told not to. It answers everything because usually it goes against our mental will or vital. And usually it is not something that the mind wants to do. I'll tell you the beginning of it. 21 April 1929. It starts with what is required of you is not a passive surrender.
Can you see it?
Yeah. In which you become like a block, but to put your will at the disposal of the divine will. Yeah, it's at the end of that, what mother says. This is a very beautiful chapter of offering of one's will. I have been trying to follow this since the past 1 year. And every time my vitals goes and tickles me, I sit down quiet and I sit down and I beg for some guidance, and then some message comes tickle me and tell me, like I will give you an example. Yesterday, I was attempting to do a portrait of my own daughter, to paint it. And the moment I took the drawing in my hand, uh, you know, I didn't draw the lips properly and the eyes and all. And then I started to feel very bad that she's so pretty and here I'm messing up the whole thing. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I jerked, it was a knee-jerk reaction. I put it away because I would have spoiled the picture. And since she's on the path of going away now, I am a little more sensitive on that issue that, she will travel far and she won't be with me. How can I spoil her portrait? And today, when in the morning I wanted to read Mother, the first thing that Mother said to me, which I read in a small prayer sent to me from one of the devotees, was never ever attach your emotions to something you are doing. You have faith in me and begin it and take it to finish. Whatever it is, do not attach your emotion to it. And I was struck that actually she talks to us, but we don't listen.
Beautiful, very beautiful. Yeah.
Today it has
Very
just
yeah.
happened. Today, and I was reading this 1 hour before usually the class. I put an alarm and I read anything at random, and you all usually talk the same subject. Like you were saying, no, Monica, experiment in talking, who follows who, and whether you butt heads or not. Taru, you remember she spoke? Were you there?
No, she was not there.
She was not there. She said that we butt heads sometimes when we start speaking. So she said, try to get calm inside and speak when you know that someone else is not speaking and you can speak. And I have been trying to experiment with that. And the headbutting, except for me and Chitradi, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think I was sharing about that improv theater technique where what we have to do to create a harmony in a group, what they
Harmony.
do, yeah. So what they do is that, for example, uh, all of us have to say a number, okay? So
Yeah.
say, and there is no series, like I'm not saying first Taru speaks, then I speak. There is no series. So what this does is this creates an inner harmony in the whole group. So for example, I'm saying one, and immediately Tarus also clashes and says one. So it means the harmony is not there. Okay. Then we slow down, calm down, and maybe take a pause, and then Taru says one, maybe Chitradi say four, and maybe Swati, Shweta says, something else. So then slowly we take pauses, and there is an inner harmony that creates in the group without even talking, without even the need to arrange into a series. So it's just a technique in that theater thing. Yeah. So what you were sharing, Jyotsna ji, what Taru had put up on screen, I think it resonated with me when mother talks of transformation of nature. Because when I am giving my will consciously over to the divine and participating, not a passive participation, like an active participation, it's a lot of resistance in the being because you want something else. Your tendencies are wanting to make you something else. You think that this is right, this is the way it should go. How can it go this way? So I feel, because I have felt that turmoil in the being, I feel that this is the transformation of nature that Mother and Sri Aurobindo talks of, that giving so much suppleness to our being, that I know that this is not going to go according the way I wanted, and yet I want to now move according to what you want.
You have to
And
be
it's
prepared.
to be prepared to let go of what I desire the thing, to be in certain format. I think this is one thing which I refer to it as unfolding of life. Now the life becomes an unfolding because it will not go according to my plan. And the other thing is that I am being hammered, or actually it is a kind of a turmoil. I have felt it many times in the being, that it's like, more tod ho rahi hai body ke andar, and you are being told that not to follow the rigidity, but to follow the higher guidance. And no matter how painful this more tod is, I think it's beautiful. Yeah, to make us truly a servant of the divine. Yeah.
In this same chapter, she says a couple of points which are very beautiful. I think we all should read. If there is time, I would point them out, but it definitely is a guideline as to us molding ourselves into, what we should become and how our will must change. Like she says, you have been put on earth, upon earth in a physical body with a definite aim, which is to make this body as conscious as possible, make it the most perfect and the most conscious instrument of the divine. And then after a few lines, she says, everyone has a life appropriate to his total development. Everyone has experiences which help him in his total development, and everyone has difficulties which help him in his total realization. I guess we don't perceive them. She says that she speaks about paradoxes where an honest man may be a thief who can be the most honest. So in that, after that, she says that do not despair if you find yourself in yourself the greatest weakness, Taru. Uh, for perhaps it is the sign of the greatest divine strength. Means what you reveal or project is exactly what will become your strength if you work on it. A thief can be the most honest man on earth. She says, I'm not telling you to steal and have fun, but she's saying that is what will actually, she puts the not the quality, the opposite of quality, the bad thing in you to make it turn completely. You are like that because precisely you ought to be the opposite, Mother says. And all your difficulties are there just that you may learn to transform them into the truth which they are hiding. Like if a person gets nervous about something or worked up or breaks to pieces, that means that the universe has sledded him to become one of the strongest people with utmost conviction. But that realization has to come into that being that, oh, this means that I have to become the strongest. And then you got to work on it. And once that realization hits you, of course, you may break down when it hits you, but once it hits you, then you start, then the universe conspires to make you become that. But we take a bit of time, because our ego plays massive games. So I don't know. Like she says, to use Hindu terminology so familiar to you, it is the greatest asuras who are the greatest beings of light. Provided they had tried, but they love the negative path, so they follow it. This is not to encourage you to be asuric, but it is like that. This will widen your minds a little and help you to free yourself from those ideas of opposing good and evil. For if you abide in that category, then only there is no hope. But we have to switch it. There was one thing in this which came in which I remembered Chitradi, and I said I must ask her because she is best on mythology amongst us. She says men like Shankara, Chitradi,
Yeah.
who did not see much further than the end of their nose, said that the world was not worth the trouble of living in,
Yeah.
for it
That
was
is a,
impossible,
yeah.
and that it was better to treat it as an illusion and go away. There is
Yeah.
nothing to be done with it.
Yeah.
I tell you, on the contrary, that it is because the world is very bad, very dark, very ugly, very unconscious, and full of misery and suffering that it can become the supreme beauty, the supreme light, and the supreme consciousness and supreme felicity. That means we are slated to become something.
Yeah. That is true. Actually, in Advaita, no, they stop with that. But that realization is itself is a very great realization, actually. To tell that the world is illusion, we can't tell that actually. We can't leave the world like that. Ordinarily, 99% of the people can't leave the world like that. But Advaitins, yeah, they are telling that even now, Mayavadins. But that itself is a great realization. But Sri Aurobindo attained that realization also, as Monica used to point out, no, always that nirvanic realization he realized. But after that, he entered into the world to transform the world. So Mother also joined with him. That is the beauty of the integral yoga. I feel personally the whole world is moving towards that, but because very less number of people can go with that Advaitic realization. World is an illusion. We can't change it. We want mukti. Nobody. I mean, I don't know, because nowadays world is towards development and progress. There may be lot of evil things, but as mother said, all the evil thing has to be transformed, no? Not to be, shunned. Yeah. Because very jokingly, I used to tell my husband, you are an asura. Because he has got lot of energy.
All of us have at some stage done all this mischief.
Yeah, he said, let it be. Because he has got lot of energy. He can lie down at any place, sleep at any time. He won't need any luxury. So I used to criticize him.
I think then you can tell him that you have the power to be a god,
Yeah.
someday.
But actually, I am seeing he's being used by mother.
Beautiful.
Definitely. I'm seeing that actually. Because my co-sister, she is also in the path. She used to correct me. Don't tell like that. He's really being used. I am seeing that you are not realizing it because you are finding mistakes, finding fault in him. Yeah. That's why I laughed when Asura.
No,
There
she
is,
said after this, she says, if you are vigilant, if your attention is alert, you will certainly receive an inspiration of what is to be done, and that you must forthwith proceed to do. She's very clearly in italics, it is written that we will get the signal of what we should do. And she says, when I told you just a while ago that you must aspire with a great ardor to do the best possible at every moment, the best thing possible, you could have asked me that all is very well. That is all very well, but how to know? Well, it is not necessary to know. If you take this attitude with sincerity, you will know at each moment what you have to do. And it is this which is so wonderful. According to your sincerity, the inspiration is more and more precise, more and more exact. And I really think this is a fact.
mm,
You know, if we just calm the shaitan in us, you know, the vital from jumping, we do get signals that little something.
yeah, Jyotsna ji, on this, I am remembering one incident when I used to teach in a school, heritage school, Gurgaon. There was a fellow in 8th or ninth class who, the thing that we are talking, that if the person is really naughty or asuric, he has the power. The unfortunate thing is that we as human beings, I feel that we don't have much love for others. I feel that there is a lack of love. uh, I remember that there was this fellow, why I'm saying lack of love, because there was this fellow, 8th, ninth class में, hoga teenager, huh? And he was a very naughty fellow in the sense he would look very calm. He would get drinks in his bottle at school. He would get whiskey or something in a school, and he would also smoke in the school while in the premises, going somewhere. And there was one fellow who came to the heritage school from Krishnamurti schools, South India. Huh? Now, this elderly gentleman was very experienced in his area. So he was given the charge to tame this naughty gentleman. And I remember that he actually transformed that naughty boy into something really beautiful. And how he did that was that he started to communicate with the fellow. He started to have one-to-one sessions in the school while he was there. So I was thinking, when you were sharing that we have to calm the shaitan, it is easier said than done, because the energies have to be channelized in what the nature is good at. For example, that little child's nature, maybe he wanted to do some creative activity, and instead of doing that creative activity, because he was not getting an outlet, maybe something was wrong at home, somewhere else, he started to drink, because what to do with this life energy. And that fellow, that elderly gentleman, he actually transformed with his communication, and put that life energy which is going into drugs and whiskey and all that, into somewhere where his nature was bent towards, maybe music, maybe some debate or something. So I think this vital energy needs a channeling according to our own swabhavas.
Yes.
Maybe someone is good at art, maybe someone is good at speaking, someone is at poetry. And if we do that, we actually feel very, very settled in the being. So yeah,
I have
that
an
was.
example of this excess vital energy. Um, I had so much vital energy that my husband used to stand in the room and say, God, let her energy go to 1/10 of what she's got. Let her calm down. And it would not happen. I could shop till he dropped till 12 in the night and nothing would happen. And I realized that it was an abnormal amount of energy which was there. I could operate continuously for 75 hours, nothing happened. And then I realized that, no, I've got to calm myself. And I took to painting when I retired, because I decided that there has to be something. I said, Mother, you take me towards something which brings me closer to you and makes me think of you, and yet makes me do something where I expend my energy. And painting is a very, very energy sucking process, because you use the mind, the brain all the time to match the color, to see the shape and whatever. But it stays there. You cannot think about what food do I have to make now? Why did Taru say this to me or Monica say this? Nothing works. You can't think of anything else. And it is then that I realized that mother channelizes your energy into such a calmness that you are absolutely still till you take the brush and put it down, and then you're back to human life. So if these spans of silence increase, you do become a better, I mean, I don't say better human being. You become more, you start thinking on calmer lines. The vital can't jump you up much. That poor fellow sits in a corner and you tell him, you shut up, and you stay there just now, it stays. So I feel what mother tells us sounds very tough, but since 1.5 years, this thanks to lockdown, I've been doing it, and it does work. This is a forum where we sort of, and I have openly come out and I speak what I experience, just because I will learn from you and you will maybe learn from something that I went through. But I definitely feel that what mother said in this, that if we quieten and listen, I think it works. It does. We
Thank
all
you so much, Jyotsna ji. And what, like you said, the fact that it's all lived. We are not just talking about books, but how we are relating to it. It really helps all of us in trying to, I don't know, see things in a different light. So thank you so much for sharing so openly and beautifully. And there are more of us here who haven't spoken anything, shared anything. So, Shweta, if in case you want to go next, if you have anything to share today.
No, I was just relating to a lot, when you talk about vital energy, high vital energy, and, seeking so much to do. I see many loved ones, yeah, Chitra ji was saying about her husband. I see even my husband has a lot of vital energy, and I am like totally different. I'm like, uh, I don't need that vital to take me out and do. I'm like लॉकडाउन तो अभी 1.5 साल से हुआ, वो पहले से ही मैं तो घर पे ही बैठती हूँ, बस इतना स्कूल और घर. So I don't have that need for vital energy. But why I'm saying this is that I do get it, because I've always felt, that there's so much potential, and like always, I've always without doubt have had this inner feeling that this guy is like so potent that I am just sitting here and going through, because this is what I like to do, but this guy has the potential to just reach up there, like this. So I've always had that intuition. I don't know when or what, but yes, I do believe in that. So that's what I could relate to.
Thank you, Shweta. Swati, Preeti, I'm seeing you after a long time. So, like either of you, whoever wants to unmute and share anything or just reflect, please. Thank you.
Okay, hi. Yeah, it's been a long time. अभी आप बात कर रहे थे about knowing your nature and true self. So there's this wonderful also this YouTube video going around. There's this monk talking about things I wish a therapist had told me years ago. rather than trying to change me and my personality. He would have just said that you are okay the way you are. If you're shy, it's okay. And so that's your nature. So maybe you like to do things differently, and maybe different kind of things are in line for you. So just reminded me of that. It's so important to keep knowing yourself so that you things become more clearer to you. Yeah. And even about that young boy that you were sharing, how maybe the education system and the family couldn't provide him, the various opportunities to help him know himself, and maybe that gentleman could do that for him. So yeah, it's really required for youngsters to get different exposures, and of course that Jay Shetty, the famous Jay Shetty, who's become a monk. We all know about him. He was like in the Silicon Valley, and like making money was his thing, and then how life changed, changed for him. So yeah, all these, with God's grace, these opportunities come, and it's how we learn. And it's nice being here, nice to just listen. It's my satsang, so thank you.
Thank you, Preeti.
Yeah, I
I
think,
think
sorry,
Shweta, yeah.
yeah, what Monica was saying about that young boy, I think what this mentor did was also not judge him, I think. Like I think it starts from there where the reception will also, receptivity will begin for the child, you know, to also give in to this mentor, or, help that mentor to channelize him. Like he would
Absolutely.
have felt like, not judged.
Absolutely. I think that's what I was sharing in the beginning, that I think we lack love in relationships. And that guy connected on the basis of love, and he could see the light in him rather than just the darkness. Absolutely.
Swati, would you have anything to share today? So if anything, just unmute and share. And I was just wanted to just make one small comment on what Preeti was saying. It just made me realize that we have to accept where we are. Like we have to be okay, like she was saying, just accept that, okay, this is what it is. And yet there is this thing that I have to work for my progress, like not kind of looking down on myself, or rather being fully in love with where I am, and knowing that, but there is more, there is more, there is more. But that doesn't make this less. But yes, there is a possibility of more. So I have to walk, I have to walk. So this is a bit of a sensitive dynamic that I guess we need to maintain. Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. And mother, I think you all would know, in the ashram, mother would give different people different kinds of jobs. And for example, if there is a doctor, it's not necessary that he is a doctor all the time. He would be put at a separate place, where he has nothing to do with his doctorate. I think that is something which is making us supple, that I'm not bound to a role. For example, if I am a speaker, yes, speaking comes naturally to me, but then I also have to be at a place where I don't have to speak, so that I know how to not to speak, for example. I think that is something which masters and mystics have done in their ashrams and wherever people were there close associated, that they have given them several tasks which were not truly in accordance to their nature, so that their expansion or suppleness would happen. I
That's
just wanted to
beautiful.
add.
And in not speaking, I'm becoming more and not less, right? Because there could be this thing that if I'm not doing it, maybe I'm not doing my dharma, maybe I'm kind of, stopping myself, I'm decreasing my energy, but it's actually making you more. Yeah. Yes,
This is
Joseph.
something I see in Sikhism, in the Gurdwara, when you're sent to the ashram to do seva, nobody asks you what you do or what is your profession. You go do chappal seva, you go clean their shoes, you go help cutting vegetables. Even in the ashram at Pondi, you sit with everybody and you chop the vegetables in silence. So it's an exercise in humility, plus your suppleness, like Monica says, and you do become plastic in terms of learning to accept. It does work on us.
Yeah, this reminded me one of the sadhak, no, Rishabh Chand. He was a Jain. He won't, I mean, they are very strict, no, Jains. They won't, they will follow that ahimsa to the extent. But what mother, what work she gave to him, no, to kill all the termites inside the rooms of the sadhaks. To go and kill those termites, no, actually. So first he refused to do that because I am a Jain. But Sri Aurobindo told him, if mother gives the work, you have to do that. Then he crossed that quality also. He could transform that quality also. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so like this reminds me, I'm working in a school, so this because of this lockdown, we had to move online, right? And with little children, we had to make a lot of videos. Now, initially, like I used to feel, oh my God, like this is like I'm such a private person, I can't do this. This breaches my privacy. But slowly and gradually, part of your job, so you have to do it, and you have to like this and that, and with little children you need to be classroom में तो आप naturally करते हो बच्चों के साथ, but with videos and all it's not your forte. But when you try to do it and all, I think it's just that you become more plastic, like Jyotsna Didi said. Like now 1.5 years down the line, it doesn't come to me as a challenge. I can just do it. But initially I was like, oh my God, like this is not happening, like I never want to do this. So it was like that. It does help. It just adds to you. Yeah.
Yeah, Shweta, thank you for sharing. That was very beautiful. And like what Chitra ji was saying, that it's strange how we work. We had discussed it briefly before too, that how I always want to box things, right? Like I am not the one who kills. So instead of it making me beautiful, it becomes a load on my head. And my ego takes it that, see, where so many are killing, I am not killing, so I am this, and it starts looking down on the other, and that defies the purpose. You remember, like a couple of sessions back, we read about charity, right? And where mother was saying that if you're actually doing it as charity, you better not do it, because the ego will just pick it and again make it big. So just remembering that everything that I'm doing, and if you actually do this in awareness, you feel it, it's for my own happiness, right? It's for my own progress, because I don't have anything to help the others. I think that's why these roles were given, so that the ego can break the I, that okay, this is my definition, these are my boxes. It's very important that these are broken. I mean, we cry out in pain, and yet that is so expansive after we realize that, oh, this was a box I was living in. Like I think I don't know where I read it, that we are all in prison, but some people have windows in their prisons, kind like it was kind of referred to as sadhaks, that they can see, while others are just in the box. So I think that's also very beautiful. So praying for more and more windows, and maybe a door. So yeah.
And
So
it's also no that my one of my friend told me, if you're receptive to mother, actually you open one window from the closed door, you open one window. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
so should we end this time? Yeah. Although it feels that we, yes, Captain. Uh, Captain, you have unmuted. Would you want to share something?
No, I just unmuted because I was going to close or something.
Okay, yeah. So I think we are done, and we'll meet again next Friday. And of course, if there's any other session in between. Thank you.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Sadhu, I'm sorry I came in late because I was stuck. There was no internet at home.
don't know why. Yeah, you came. That's so beautiful. Thank you for coming. Time does not matter. And thank you.
No, I love these sessions because they are so cohesive and we actually learn to incorporate so many things into us. You know, it's like you hammer it in. We hammer it into ourselves rather than it just being like some theory reading and then we don't put it into practice in our lives. But here with that little you know nudge, and then some of us relate our own personal experiences and it kind of cements, and we decide, okay, next time I should try it this way, you know. So I
Like
think
Adi Shankaracharya says, Mohammed Gara means you are hammering actually, hammering the egos or whatever is there. So if somebody has got certain egos which we normally don't agree, that is, no, I have this ego and all. So it gets hammered. So then we wake up actually what is happening.
in fact I feel
Like
we enter this room we are hungry. Isn't it, Captain?
there was a person called
You're receptive.
Mahendranath Gupta. There was a person called Mahendranath Gupta. Then he went to Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and he was those days in 1880s. He was a postgraduate, and he was initially headmaster of the Vidyasagar, Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar. He had the schools, metropolitan schools, and he was the headmaster of the schools and all. Very disciplined and well known and all. All the philosophy of the world he has studied and all. A well-known person. And then he went to him when he met Ramakrishna. Actually, he was going to commit suicide that evening, but his one of the friends said that there is one garden. Why not to go or visit? So he went to that garden and all, and then he met Ramakrishna Paramahansa that evening for some time. So he said that come again, because that was in the evening and all. He said come again. So so he could not commit suicide on that day evening. So he came again. Then he saw that person, but having a lot of ego in the sense that at the time he was a professor in one of the college. So due to this family issues and all, he was not very happy or something. So then his ego was to be brought. There are two big egos. So it was broken by Ramakrishna Paramahansa first. So the first thing that are you married? Yeah, in front of the other disciples, he just asked, "Are you married?" He said, "Yes." So he told somebody, Ramakrishna told that you see that he is married, as if he has become a lower caste by marrying and all this, something like that. So his ego got hurt because he was he was all learned person, and he's in the society. He was very high status person actually. So though those Britishers were there at the time. So that was one in Calcutta. It happened. Then second ego was there that do you have child? He says yes, I have. So again that ego was broken down. And then the third the question was asked that your how's your wife, like Gani or Gani? So he says he's Gani. So he said you believe that you are a very Gani person. So in Ramakrishna's language, slowly he learned that in Ramakrishna's language, Gani means God, means the realization of the God. So that is not the Gani. There's reading books and chemistry, physics, mathematics, biology. These are not the Gyan or something and all. So that's what he meant. And he was tasked actually, not the thing that he used to attend the meeting and all. And the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in English. It was written by, after his demise, means Ramakrishna's demise, he wrote. And he has written in such a way as if you read that, as if you are sitting there and seeing the conversation. I mean, questions put by the disciples to Ramakrishna Paramahansa for different group of people used to come of different backgrounds. So then he used to answer accordingly. If there is a lawyer, if there is a professor, if there is a the village person and all this, so he used to give that example in that. So all this, he got that photographic memory. Like in Bhagavad Gita, that Sanjay, he had the power. He could see what is happening around from the far off, like radar. So here he has written in such a way that descriptive. What was the day and what was the time? What was the tithi? And where was the moon? Where this thing Ganges by the side, and whether it was flowing in which direction, how wind was blowing, and who are all sitting where all this. Then he has put this. So any word, anything you don't like to miss actually. So that he has got that memory, and he wrote that. And anybody who is not say like the question asked, what is the purpose of our life? I think this is the first question was asked. So the he acknowledged that though he has not read, he is a unread person, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, but the quote and the thing which he used to give, and that has got nothing parallel in this world. And he knows everything in the universe. So that was given, and very simple words it was given, and then he narrated that with all those education qualification what he had, and with all those he has written this, and it has become we call Kathamrita. Kathamrita means one word itself is Amrit. And the time will go, it will never be old actually. So there is no questions which comes from the human mind like in Bhagavad Gita. So here also, uh, he has given those Amrita, uh, that all the solutions of all the problems which human being or animal being or animal kingdom, plant kingdom will find. So all those answers are there actually to find God in everybody and everybody. So then it is to be felt like if you say some doctor is operating somebody and you don't feel pain, but actually it is paining. But you feel that I'm not the body. If your feeling is good, you really believe that, then that means you realize yourself. Realization has taken place. We say that everything is Brahman, everything is Brahma, whatever we see. It is easy, we can utter that sentence, but it is difficult to realize that inclusiveness that I am I am in everybody, I am in everything in the world, and everything is in me. So that thing will, once we realize that, then probably that is the realization of the God. So, ultimate. Thank you. Sorry, I've taken some time.
Thank you. It's very good. Yeah.
Conclude, I would always say one thing, which is a tribute to Taru and to Monica, is that when we come to these sessions, we come to them with a certain humility. You know, all of us, we come with an open cup, with our hands like this to receive. And because we come in that vulnerable state, and nobody is in a mood, I mean, generally, most of us is not in a mood to argue or oppose or, say something detrimental to it, but we are in a frame of mind of acceptance. And it is a kind of a surrender with which we come. And I feel that is why all of us go back with with a take home. We take a takeaway gift, each of us, and that is thanks to Taru and Monica. I feel that I never joined any groups, never. And in fact, I told one of my friends at the ashram that I'm joined a group, and he said that, are you sure you're not the sort? And I said, yes, I'm sure, because we go like this and we come back with lots and we go, and then you wait for the next week. So credit goes to both of you.
Yeah.
With you
We
because
agree.
it's
All
totally
of us.
how you are coming and you are going, right? This is just a platform, so it really depends on you what you are coming and what you're coming with and
Yeah.
going
To
100.
create that atmosphere, to create a platform for us to be open and to speak on, such sensitive issues which are never verbalized. Nobody speaks their experiences. Nobody wants to share it even with one's own child. These are supposed to be your own, to make us do it and give us a takeaway gift each time. Relentlessly, you're at it. I give you salam.
Even I agree, like this is the first forum where I have ever spoken, and I'm not putting any effort. It just comes so naturally. Otherwise, I am not somebody, I'm a very private person, but I don't know. This is the first time since I've joined last 1 month. It was my vacation in school, and it's so beautifully spent. Monday, say school starts. So I am so happy. First time ever. Like I have spoken absolutely dil se. I
I
really like
wanted
this
to
forum.
genuinely compliment them and express my gratitude to these
Yes.
two young girls. They are both very young. हम लोग तो पके हुए खिलाड़ी हैं, but they are, they really keep us together, keep the enthusiasm on, keep us going, and give us so much that we also feel like taking part. Catch me reading 1 hour before a session.
वो तो मोनिका का डर है आपको, आपने बताया था एक बार कि you got scolded.
One day she scolded me for not talking. Pradi, correct, no?
Yeah, but I'm watching you all expressing the gratitude. Think about me, I can't even talk English very nicely actually. They both of them are making me also to talk actually. Yeah, really, I don't know what to say, but it's all goes to mother, and really, yeah.
Yeah, Mother has brought us all together,
Yeah.
but then that's why I said it always, her actions come through human beings. She is
Yeah.
using Taru and Monica
Yeah,
as
true.
instruments to
Yeah, true.
bring a cohesiveness into us
Yes.
and to be able to go deeper and on the path with more conviction.
Yes, correct.
So, like you began the session with that a human element does come into play.
Yeah.
Had you not started this, I don't think any of us would have ever met.
Yeah. So, this my
uh,
mother, yeah.
my humble gratitude, and you have in fact accelerated my path very rapidly by making us all, think, read, feel. I really sincerely feel that credit goes to
Yeah.
both of you.
But Jyotsna ji, you would absolutely, I think, agree that when everything is coming from her, because that you are saying they're not even going things at play, right? Just puppets being kind of, put in certain places, and everything that's supposed to flow is flowing. So
Yes,
yeah,
it is our
this
gratitude to her through you.
yeah.
I mean, you are the instruments.
I don't know what to say. Thank you for your gratitude and more grace and power to all of us. See you next week, and
Thank
we'll
you.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
will
so
pour
much.
this gratitude at her feet. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Bye bye.